no, looks like starting right on time again. We're going to have a class on pronunciation. Today's class focuses on the three distinct sounds of the ed suffix. We call these the ed sounds: id, t, and d. Ahmed, where are you from?
I am from Kuwait.
Kuwait.
Yes.
So it's really early in the morning.
No, now in evening. This in middle in evening.
Oh, what time is that? Would have thought it would have been like midnight or something.
Midnight. Yes.
Yes, so
12.
yes, so that's early morning then.
Early. Yes. Yeah. You can early, but
It
12
doesn't seem
evening.
like morning though, does it? It seems very much like night.
Yeah. But evening now. Yeah.
Well, it's funny. People generally refer to the night as when it's dark. Evening is usually anywhere up till around 9, maybe 10 at night. Morning literally starts at midnight and goes till noon. But usually people refer to, if they're working late, if they're up late, they'll say, I'm up to the wee hours of the morning, the early hours of the morning.
Yes.
But definitely nighttime. When it's dark, it's night.
What time where you from, teacher?
It's 5 p.m.
5 p.m.
Yeah, that's in Toronto.
Toronto?
Yeah, it's in Canada.
Canada, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh.
How long have you been learning English?
I am English in a long time, but I am in university study learning English, a lecture.
Okay. So what is your major field of study?
Learning English, a lecture.
Oh, so you're an English major then. You're studying for an English degree?
Yes.
Okay,
But
very good.
yeah, I like to study English. I hope in study English, but this English and this very in hard. I am see in pronunciation. This I have a problem in pronunciation. I can't read all the words. يعني this problem in word. I have a problem. I want in learning always every day in pronunciation.
Well, it's good to learn every day. The
Yes.
classes that I have, they focus on pronunciation.
Yes.
They also focus on conversation.
Conversations.
Yeah. So I would tell you the rest of the classes I have this week, but unfortunately I can't get into my teacher page. I can tell you, well, I think I can see the next couple of classes, so no, doesn't look like I can. Let's try it again. Here we go. So tonight, a few hours later, I have a class. It'll be too early for you, I'm sure, but we talk about headlines. It's all about speaking. I will help you with pronunciation, but we talk about headlines in newspapers.
Okay, yes.
Then tomorrow, I have an academic English class where we read together from a newspaper, and then we have a discussion about what we read. On Thursday, I have a class. It's called Describe What You See. So I'll show pictures or videos, and we'll take turns describing those pictures. Again, I will correct your pronunciation if something isn't said correctly. Okay, and then on Friday I have another pronunciation class.
Okay, yeah.
Well, today we're going to focus on one particular suffix. It's called the ed suffix. The ed suffix is very important in English. Could you tell me why the ed suffix is very important?
The read, listen, can you read?
Well, yes, it's helpful for reading, but what is it about verbs, what does it do if you put ed at the end of a verb?
And the past.
Yeah. So we need to be able to talk about the past, so it's very important.
Yes.
But in English, it has more than one pronunciation, the ed suffix, which is kind of strange. And it has 3 different sounds. Those are these. The id, t, and d.
Oh,
So
yeah.
the id, not too hard, but
Yes.
the t sound is what we consider a voiced sound.
Yeah.
And the d is what kind of sound? The d.
The.
It's a voiced sound, right?
Yes.
So the t is unvoiced, the d is voiced.
Voice. Yeah.
So if we look at the id sound, for example, and we took the word expect,
Expect.
okay, and then we made it, what's the past participle of expect?
Expect.
No,
Expecting.
no, not expecting.
T.
No. Okay, so we were just talking about the id sound, which is one of the sounds that the ed suffix has. So if we take the word expect and we want to know what the past participle of expect is, what word would that be?
Okay. Expect.
What's the past participle of expect?
Past.
Yeah.
Okay. Expected.
Yeah. Expected.
Expected. Yes.
Yeah, so there we have, we can hear the id sound, right?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm going to give you another word, and I want you to give me the past participle of that word as well. Okay, the next word is wound. What's the past participle of wound?
Wounded.
Yeah, exactly. With the id sound again, right?
Mm.
So the first lesson I'm going to talk about is how to pronounce words or how to identify words that have the id sound. So when looking at the past participle of regular verbs, we should always use the id sound when the root word ends in T or D. Okay?
Mm.
So the first word I gave you was what? What was the first word that I gave you?
Okay. First in ed.
No, that's a suffix. What was the first word?
First word.
Yeah.
id.
No, that's a sound. Okay. So I said, I gave you this word, and I said, yeah, I wanted you to give me the past participle of this word. So what was the first word I asked you to conjugate?
You can explain, please? id and the fixed ed should use id when he worked ends in t or d.
Right, word.
Word.
Okay, so that's right, when the root word ends in a T or D. So we had expect, Okay,
Expected.
and I said give me the past participle, and you said expected.
Expected, yes.
So expect is the root of the word expected. And you can see it ends in a T. The root
Yes.
word simply means all words without any suffixes or prefixes. Let's look at the word unexpected.
Unexpected.
What is the prefix to unexpected?
O-E in T. Unexpected. D.
No, there's no prefix or suffix that has a T or D. What is the prefix to the word unexpected?
What's mean, yani? You want what mean?
Okay, so well, what's a suffix? Let's talk about a suffix first. What is a suffix?
Suffix. Okay. Suffix. Okay, I want to see.
Are you reading everything I'm typing in the group chat?
Yeah, I am see. I am
Okay.
read.
Because I'm writing the information there.
Okay. Okay.
So what is a suffix?
Suffix. This in same this same in AD. ID.
Okay, but what is a suffix? I'm not asking you to give me an example. What is a suffix? Can you give me the definition of a suffix?
I am sorry, don't understand what you mean.
Okay, so let me start the lesson over again.
Okay.
In this class, we're going to talk about the three sounds associated with the ED sound. The ED sound, or the ED, is a suffix that puts words or verbs in the past participle, or in the past. That doesn't make any sense at all. Let me start again. The ED sound, no, I'm sorry, it's not a sound. The ED suffix has three sounds. We put these at the end of verbs to put them in the past participle. So it's very important to talk about. It doesn't make sense at all. It's not about talking about. It's very important to identify the three different sounds of the ED suffix. Okay? So again, we're talking about verbs. And these are verbs that are in the past, or the past participle. We make them, we form the past participle for regular verbs by adding the ED suffix. Okay? We're only talking about regular verbs here because only regular verbs have the ED suffix. And the ED suffix means it's at the end of the word. The prefix would be at the beginning. So we have a root word, such as expect, that we conjugate. We create the past participle by adding ED. The root word is still expect, and the suffix would be ED. If we put something in front of expect, that would be the prefix. So what is the suffix then? What is a suffix?
Suffix and in the word.
Okay, I'm not sure that I understand. Can you just be more descriptive? What is the suffix?
Suffix in the word.
What do you mean it's in the word?
This in verb. You can.
It doesn't have to be a verb. You can other words can have a suffix or prefix too.
Suffix.
Yeah, what is a suffix?
Suffix in the complete the word.
Okay, so yes. Sorry?
Complete.
Can you type that word? I'm not sure I understand. If you could type that word in the group chat.
Okay. Okay, I am right too.
Oh, supplement to the floor. No, it doesn't mean it's the supplement to the floor. Did you just get that off the internet?
Yes.
Yeah, it doesn't make any sense.
Oh, no, same.
No, that doesn't make any sense at all.
Oh, I am sorry.
Okay, so
I am translator in here.
yeah, don't use the translator. I want you to just listen to what I'm saying and then describe the best you can. So, what is the root of the word unexpected?
Expected.
Nope.
T.
Okay, the root. What do I mean by root?
Root. D.
No. Okay. Ahmed, I'm asking
Yes.
questions, and I need you to listen to the question that I'm asking. So you're giving me the answer, giving me an answer, but what I'm looking for is you to describe what it actually is. Okay, so shouting out T or D doesn't tell me or define what a root word is. So do you know what a root word is?
It's
So okay, if you don't, just let me know.
okay. Yeah, what you want? I am suffix.
Well,
A
no,
suffix.
let's start over. So what is a root word? Sorry, what is the root of a word? What does it mean if I'm asking for the root of a word?
This D.
What do you mean by D?
D descend and the end, the world.
Okay. Can you give me an example because I'm not sure I follow you.
يعني you want this
Because before we really go into the lesson, I need to understand basic terminology. Okay. Wound. Okay, so why is wound the root word?
why was
Now, why is wound a root word? Why is wound the root of wounded? Okay, these questions that I'm asking require a definition or explanation, not one-word answers. I need more than one-word answers because it doesn't make sense what you're saying. Okay, so what does a root word mean? What do I mean? What does a root word not have?
you can write this question, please. Right. I'm sorry.
Okay, Ahmed, I'd rather not have you use the internet. I'm trying to have a conversation. I think it's easier than just searching the internet. Okay, I know you can do this. I just need you to help me here. Okay.
Okay, I am understand what this you want now,
Okay.
but what you want world? I am telling you.
Okay.
يعني
So
what يعني tell me any world I am this uh, in difficult for me now.
yes, and I'm trying to. That's why I'm going back to basic vocabulary, and then we'll go back to the lesson. But it's important that you understand the vocabulary, or the lesson won't make a lot of sense. Okay. So we've got a couple of things here. We have a root word. We have a
Yes, please
prefix
do.
and suffix. Okay. So I want you to explain to me what it means to use the word root word. What does it mean if I say root word?
Yeah, I am understand this in world in the past. يعني this in past this world. يعني don't make anything.
Okay. What does a suffix mean?
Suffix this same this id past this
No, no. Okay, so let me start over again. All right. The root word of any word is what happens when we remove any prefixes or suffixes. A prefix is what we add to the beginning of a word,
beginner.
such as un. We add that to expect, or sorry, un would go to the beginning of unexpected. The root is still expect, but we add un to it. It changes the definition of the word. Okay?
Okay.
A suffix is what we add to the end of a word. It may change its meaning, it may pluralize, but a suffix is what we put to the end of a root word. A prefix is what we put to the beginning of a root word. If we're asking for what a root word is, it has no, we take away all suffixes and prefixes. Does that make sense?
Yeah, this is okay. I understand. But
Okay.
root world in this beginning,
Sorry?
beginning
Beginning of
in
what?
root world,
Okay.
root world. This I am right.
I don't understand because you're not asking a question. You're just shouting out words, and I don't know what you're trying to say. What? Do you have a question?
Yeah, clear.
That's not a question. That's just a word.
World, yes.
Yeah. You know, Ahmed, you might be better in a beginner class because I think like this class is at an intermediate level.
Okay, but I am understand, but I am here and focus in the pronunciation.
I'm afraid you're not understanding, so I'm asking you what is your question, and you're just typing two words. That's not a question. I don't know what to say. Okay. A question starts with how, why, what, when, where, can, could, right?
What does root world mean?
Okay, well that's a question I asked you.
Okay, yeah,
Okay.
I am asking for you now.
Okay, well I remember I just explained what a root word was and a prefix and a suffix.
I am suffix understand. And
Okay, so what's a suffix then?
suffix in the end the word.
It's at the end of the word, something we add to
Yes.
the end of the word, yeah.
Yes.
What's a prefix?
This prefix in the beginner in the word.
It's what we add to the beginning of the word.
Beginning, yes.
Okay. Think of pre. It comes before, right? Pre at the beginning.
Begin, yes.
Okay, so if we take away the prefix and we take away the suffix, what are we left with?
Suffix. Oh my God, I don't understand. Suffix.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's hard to really do this class with you because I think you would
Oh,
be better at a beginner level, because what I'm doing, see, we've spent maybe 25 minutes here and we haven't spent any time really on the lesson. We're just going over really more beginner level vocabulary.
but how I am and read this in a newspaper, story, short story. I won't read.
You won't read it in a story?
Yes,
You sure you will?
yes, I won't read story.
Yeah, but this is not a story class. This is a
No,
pronunciation class.
yeah, I want to read a story exactly, and I don't want read story in the bad.
Okay, but we're not going to read stories in this class. It's not a class for reading stories.
In class, understand this in class in pronunciation.
Yes.
Yes, okay. How I am understand in the word in T and ID and D,
Okay.
ED.
Right. Okay, so the pronunciation lesson is about the three different sounds that the ed suffix has. So that's why we need to understand what a suffix is, right? We need to understand what a root word is. If
Mm,
we don't understand what these are, the rest of the lesson isn't going to make a lot of sense,
yes.
right? So we understand what a suffix and a prefix is. So the root word then means what?
Root word in this in uh, this in beginning the word.
Okay, I see what you're trying to say. So beginning of the word, what you mean is the word without any suffixes or prefixes, right?
Yes.
Yeah, if we the root word is the word without any suffixes or prefixes. Okay? So again, looking at this sentence, the suffix ed should use an id sound when the root word ends with a t or d. It's very important. Okay?
Okay.
So wound ends in a d. Okay? So wounded, the root word of wounded is what?
ED.
Okay, sorry, the root word. What is the root word of wounded?
ED.
No, it's not. What's the suffix of wounded?
Oh, I am sorry. What you want this suffix
What
in
is the
wood?
suffix of wounded?
Suffix in AD.
Okay, what is
Suffix
the root word of wounded?
in wood.
Wound. Okay, good. So the root word ends in what letter?
Letter.
Yeah.
Letter what?
The root word ends in what letter?
Uh, I don't understand.
Okay. You know what? I'm sorry. I'm going to have to move forward because this lesson is recorded and I haven't really covered the material. So I'll at least cover the material and then I'll come back and I can provide you with some private tutoring. But right now I've got to go over the lesson plan because um, I really think you'd be better off in a beginner class.
Okay.
Okay. All right. So the ed sound has three different, or we sometimes call it the ed sound, but it's really the ed prefix. Sorry, I can't speak at all today, can I? I'll start again. The ed suffix has three sounds: id, t, and d. Quite often, as you heard me saying there, we think of it as the ed sound. But that's not correct. It's the ed suffix. The first sound is what we call the id sound. Let's look at some words that have an ed suffix that have the id sound. Remember, the suffix ed should use id when the root word ends in a t or d. And again, the root word is any word with all the prefixes and suffixes removed. So the word ended. Well, the root word is end, and the word end ends in a d. So that's why we know we have to use the id sound, so we get ended. The next word, let's look at the root of this word, expect. There's a t at the end. So by adding ed, we again would use the id sound to get expected. Right? Some other examples of these words include invited. The root, invite, again we're looking at the final consonant here, would be a t, invited. Decide. Well, the past participle decide is decided. The root word is decide. The final consonant is d. We use id. Let's go back and look at some of the sounds. So we have the id sound, but we also have the unvoiced t sound, represented by the slash and the t. And we have the voiced d sound. The difference between the t and the d sound is right here. If we hold on to our voice box, larynx, or Adam's apple as it's known, you'll notice that when you say t, there's no vibration. But with d, there is a vibration. Id sounds very different than t or d. But it's easy to remember. When the root word ends in a t or d, and again we're talking about the final consonant, okay? When it ends with a t or d, it's always id. Many students make the mistake of saying id or ed for all of these words. In fact, we never say ed. It's never expect ed or invite ed. It's invite id. This is how to sound like a native English speaker, using the id sound, not ed. So what about the rest of the words? Well, let's focus on the voiced d sound. We take the root word open, put it in the past, and we have opened. Okay? Notice I didn't say ed at all. We're just softly pronouncing or saying the d. Opened. Opened. Same with learn. Learned. For the word realize, that is a root word and it ends in E, but the final consonant is obviously a Z, so realized. Again, the D sound. Change. The past participle would be changed. Roll, rolled. Arrive, arrived. Now, if you're following along, you'll notice that the root words here have ended in an N, a Z, a TH, a G, and an L. Okay, this is where it gets a little difficult. Words that end in an ED suffix that do not have a T or D where we say the voiced D sound, is spoken when it ends in a B, G, L, M, N, R, V, Z, or TH. This is where it gets rather difficult to remember all of those. I mean, I never had to memorize those. I just learned as I was a child to say these. So I'm going to make it a little easy shortly. Okay? But again, let's look at some of the words that end with the ed suffix that have a D sound. Some very common words. If you have a wife or a husband, you would be married. If you're in school, you probably studied last week. And if you like food, you probably tried many different desserts. Climbed, rubbed, studied, stuffed, lived, shaved, missed, moved, lived, paid, and viewed are some of the many words that use the D sound. Okay, let's look at words that have the T sound, the unvoiced sound. Again, these are all words that end with the ed suffix where we're talking about the past, right? But you'll notice they have a slightly different sound. Look. If I want to come up with a past participle of look, I would have looked. Again, we still have an ed sound there, but it's pronounced as a t. T. To work, the past participle of to work is worked. Again, the T sound. To talk, talked. To like, liked. To stop, stopped. All of these have a T sound. Now again, there are a long list of words that have the T sound. If we look at the root words, the final consonant is F, K, P, S, X, CH, TH, and SH. All of these will have us say the T sound. Now that's why this becomes a much more difficult lesson. Let's recap a little bit. If the root word ends with a T or D as the final consonant, and remember consonants are those letters that are not vowels. Okay, and vowels are A, E, I, O, U, Y. Well, sometimes Y. The rest of them are consonants. So if the root word ends in a T or D, we always say id. Notice how id sounds very different than a T or D. What I recommend for those of you learning the 3 different pronunciations of the ed suffix is focus on saying words that end in a T or D properly with id. It's easy. There's only 2 consonants, T or D. Now the rest of them, well, that's going to take a bit of work and it's going to take practice. The more you speak, the better you'll get. You could try to memorize them all, but that will take some time. Now let's talk a little bit about the cheat. If you listen to those with a North American dialect, quite often medial and trailing consonants are softened. Softened almost as though you can't hear them. Let's look at the word mountain. If you listen to people on TV, most often you'll hear them say mountain. The T is almost silent. Now, I don't recommend this, and I think you should always enunciate your medial and trailing consonants. They're important for clarity. But if you soften your trailing consonants, it's very hard to understand the difference between a T or a D. And let me prove this to you. I've done this many times in class. If I say opened or looked, did that sound right? To say opened properly, I use the D sound, opened. But I actually said opened. I put the T sound there, but I softened it, so opened sounded more like this, opened. It was softer, didn't sound as strange. Again, let's look at looked. Looked. The trailing consonant is very sharp, and it would be in this class because I need to make sure you can hear it clearly. But I would never say looked. I would say looked. It's softer. So now if I substitute with the D sound, again with a softer D, looked, it doesn't sound that strange. So and here's the important part, if words have a T or D sound and you say it softly, if you get it wrong, that's okay. It's not going to be as noticeable. But now let's hear what it sounds like if I use the id sound. Even if I do it softer, looked, it just doesn't sound right. It's very noticeable. So the first step with mastering the 3 different sounds of the ed suffix is the id sound. Memorize it. Know that the root word need only end in a T or D. Okay? That's for the id sound. All other consonants do not use the id. We do not say ed. All other words must have a T or D sound. Now, for those of you listening, I'll say them out loud. For those of you in the class, just simply copy them down. I'll put them in the group chat. So to summarize the D sound, we use the D sound when the root word ends in these final consonants. F as in Frank, K as in Kansas, P as in Peter, S as in Saskatchewan, X as in X-ray, CH as in cheese, TH as in 3, and SH as in shoal. These all have the T sound. Okay. For the D sound, we would have these consonants as the final consonant in the root word. B as in boy, G as in girl, L as in lamb, M as in Mary, N as in Nancy, R as in river, V as in Victor, Z as in zebra, TH as in 3. Okay? That's the hard, honest truth of it. You've got to memorize all those. However, the more you practice speaking, the more you'll just learn by listening to others. It's how you learned your own language. I doubt any of you, or I doubt any of us native English speakers in school were taught how to say the ED sound. And many of us probably don't even realize we say it 3 different ways. We just grew up learning it. Okay, so that's really a summary of the 3 different sounds of the ed suffix and when to use each one. Remember, id is very different than t or d, and id is only used for when the root word ends in a t or d. Okay, Ahmed, any questions about what I've talked about so far?
No, thank you. This is very nice.
Does
I
that
am
help?
right. Yeah, no, this. But I am asked this blade. Blade.
Play?
It's a blade. A blade. What's blade?
Okay, so the root word is play, obviously. And let's see here.
Blade.
Played. D
Yes.
sound.
Blade.
Played. Yeah, with a
Blade.
d
Yes.
sound.
Yeah. Yes.
Okay.
Yes. This good. I like it. This.
Yeah, and if you look at the different consonants, play's a little tough. What is the final consonant with played?
Consonant.
It's
Blade.
L, right?
L.
So with L, we must use the D. Y is considered a vowel. A is always a vowel. So in this case, yes, we'd use the D. Any other words? Do you have any other words? Okay, do you have any other questions? So if you
No.
don't
Thank.
have any
No.
other
No.
questions, then that would pretty much end class a little early.
Oh yes. No. Thank you.
All right, Ahmed.
But how this you want in practice? You want I want in practice.
Okay.
Yeah, in practice learning English pronunciation. Yeah.
Okay. I want you to
Oh,
read these words that I just pasted in the group chat.
okay. Uh, Number one, this opened D.
Mhm.
Number two, learning
No,
D.
learned.
Learned D. Number two, three, zebra D. Zebra. No. Re, realized, realized,
Realized. Good. Good
realized,
try.
yes, yeah. Number four, re, breathed, T.
No, you've said it wrong.
One,
Okay, you said it the one way we're not supposed to say.
maybe this, beret,
We never say ed, ever.
uh, beret, beret, said, breathed,
Nope, you're saying it the same way again. We never say ed.
at,
Yeah, you said breathe ed. We never say ed.
uh,
It's never pronounced ed.
okay, B, 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 said, said,
No, you're saying ed. Don't say ed. What are your
uh,
options?
uh, per, per, breath, breath,
Yeah. Yeah,
breath,
breathed. Perfect.
breath, breath. Oh, thank you. Yes. Changed, changed.
Yep, very good.
Rolled, rolled,
Rolled.
rolled. Yes, rolled. Arrived, married. So, the, so, 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 so,
Studied.
studied. Studied. I am so tired.
Tried.
Tried, climbed, climbed.
Yep.
revolt,
Rubbed.
rubbed, married, studied, stuffed, stuffed,
Mm-hmm.
tired, crammed, rubbed,
Rubbed.
loved, lived, left,
Rubbed.
rubbed, left, left,
Good.
share, shift, skilled, missed,
Mm-hmm.
studied, tried, climbed, cleaning, call, called,
Cooled.
cold, errand, errand,
Earned.
errand, second, score,
Scored.
scored,
Okay, I've got a
kind,
new group of words there. Can
oh,
you read these
oh,
ones?
yeah, yeah. I am read this now, down, looked,
Yeah.
walked, supposed,
Past.
fast, walked, talked, liked, sport,
Stopped.
stopped, crashed, cra-
Crashed.
crashed, land, land, land,
Laughed.
laughed, watched, laughed, ke, ke, ke,
Kicked.
kept, kept, liked, kissed,
Mm-hmm.
stopped.
Have you noticed something uncommon? All these words, what sound do they have?
This T,
Yeah.
T,
Okay.
T, yes.
So I'm kind of making it easy.
First
I'm kind of
one,
grouping them together. Okay, because if I was to mix them up, that's a little tougher. But you notice how there's a consistent sound. D
okay.
or t. It's not very strong. You're saying it with the right amount of force. Now the next group of words, I want to hear you say those.
Next, end, expected, invented,
Invited.
brain, invited,
Invited.
brain, invited,
Good.
rented, rented, hated,
Printed.
hated,
No, printed.
rented, rented, hated,
Hated.
hated, interested, listed,
Lasted.
last, patent,
Painted.
reported, patent,
Painted.
reported, patent,
No, painted.
painted,
Good.
reported, started, get, great, to, toasted,
Tasted.
twisted, tested, ob- ob- obse-
Objected.
objected, needed, decided, sounded, started, printed,
Painted.
painted, wanted, landed, needed.
Okay, good. Now, what I would do is copy down everything I've written on the group chat. The three different sounds of the ed suffix are not easy, and they require practice. For many students learning English, the ed suffix isn't difficult for many. However, if your native language happens to be Portuguese or Spanish, you might have trouble with this. I'm not exactly sure why this is, because those who speak Portuguese have no trouble with each of these three sounds. But I also know that it doesn't really make sense as to why we have three sounds for one suffix, but we do. In 2 or 3 hours, well, in 2 hours, I'm going to have another class tonight. This class is on headlines. We'll spend our entire time talking about news from around the world, technology, sports, baseball, maybe business and investing. Maybe it's from your local paper. It doesn't matter. Whatever you guys want to talk about, we'll talk about, as long as you can find it in the news somewhere. Okay? Well, that brings us to the end of another class. Ahmed, thank you for coming, and I hope you were able to learn something in today's class that will be useful for you. And I hope to see you later on.
Thank you, teacher. You're patient for me.
No worries.
I am like it learning English. Thank you. Tell me today. You teach me. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Too much. Too much.
You're very
Thank
welcome.
you. See you.
See you later, my friend. Bye-bye.
See you. Bye. Bye.